Good morning. Welcome back to another fine, cloudy, muggy, hot, humid day here in eastern North Carolina. We're at the tail end of a heat wave that's been affecting most of the southeast for a few days now. I think today is supposed to be like 85 and feels like 95, which is better than 110. We're also supposed to be getting scattered showers, so I'm not going to be doing a long, big project today, which is okay because there are so many other things for me to do. I believe next week, I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is supposed to be much cooler, around 80. Yeah, that's cooler. But I'll probably attack the rose garden at that point. Get in there because I have some serious weeding to be doing in there. I've been neglecting the space big time. And there's a few things I want to maybe try to plant up in there as well. So I really need to get in there and take care of it. I've also been trying to battle the deer, keeping them out of the rose garden. And I think I'm fairly successful, although it looks like something is still nibbling on some of my roses, which is odd because I've put up barriers, I've put up tape, I've sprayed the deer spray. So maybe it's not the deer that are attacking the roses, especially Mr. Lincoln. Poor Mr. Lincoln's getting his ass whooped this year. But maybe there's something else going. I tried putting a trail camera out earlier in the week there, but I didn't capture anything. So maybe I'll put the trail camera back out over the weekend to see if it picks up any sort of critter going in to nip at the fresh new leaves on Mr. Lincoln there. Either way, again, the rose garden is something that needs serious attention. And if you subscribe and hit that bell icon to be notified when I do post a new video, you'll see, you'll catch the video probably on Monday, maybe Friday. We'll see how things go of me attacking the rose garden, getting in there, doing some serious weeding, maybe even some hedge trimming, not sure, but it needs serious attention. I've been sort of neglecting it because I've been working on planting stuff out, working on the new or the expanded flower garden, and all sorts of other projects. Again, if you've been paying attention to the channel, there's always something going on here in the garden. I'm building a garden here in 1.5 acres, and recently I planted out peach trees, a fig tree in the garden, been battling deer and expanding the borders, the protection borders around some of the plants that are deer susceptible, as it were. Of course, there's always mowing the lawn. And the veg garden here is just really thriving right now. We were very dry for about a month and a half there, where we maybe, if we did get a rain, maybe 1/4 of an inch, not a lot. Maybe that tide has turned, and maybe we're going to start getting rain a little more consistently. We have gotten 2 or 3 days of sprinkles here and there, not sprinkles, I should say, light rains. So if you get 1/4 inch and then 2 days later you get 1/4 inch and a day later you get 1/4 of an inch, well, that's 3/4 of an inch already in the course of 3 or 4 days. So that all helps the ground. But if you get 1/4 of an inch and then you don't get rain for another 2 weeks, that doesn't help. Like I said, everything's thriving. I was just eating a lot of string beans off of the string bean plant over there. They're really booming. I'm going to have to start another bed soon of beans because they will grow in the heat of the summer here. And the beans that I currently have, I think they may be getting to the end of their lives. So I'll do a succession planting of beans. Worst case scenario, I have 2 beds full of beans, and I love French beans, string beans, whatever you want to call them. I also have, and you may, if I edited this correctly, you should have seen that in the beginning. I have I believe they're called rattlesnake beans. They're beans that are supposed to get, I think, like 1 foot long. They're starting to grow. Just a few days ago I had flowers only, and now all of a sudden overnight I have beans. So that's a bonus. And I'll probably harvest them in the next few days, see how big they get, and I'll let you know how they taste there. So let's get on with today's little project. And really what it is something, it's simple. It's something I've done a billion times before. Maybe you've even done it if you're a gardener. But earlier in the year I purchased a few bare root trees from Arbor Day Foundation. So if you're not familiar with Arbor Day Foundation, they support planting of trees and tree charities. They're all about the trees, but they also have a shop. And if you join up the membership, which is relatively cheap, I believe it's under $30, maybe even cheaper than that. I don't remember. If I do, I'll post up the link there. You can turn around and get yourself a bare root tree for, I think I got an apple tree for $10. So that's already in the ground, and that's been having a tough year because the deer love the nice tender leaves. So that one's having a tough year, but it's growing, it's thriving. It's, I believe it's a Jonathan apple tree. This is a Crepe Myrtle, and this is a Crepe Myrtle. And both of these were just little twigs when I first got them. And they are both thriving in their little pots here. But I don't want them in the pots, I want them in the ground. But I don't know where I want them in the ground yet. I think they might both go in the rose garden, but the spaces for them aren't quite ready yet. Maybe in the fall, maybe. But in the meantime, they just can't. Again, when I got them, they were little twigs, maybe 6 to 8 inches high. And you can see they've put on quite a bit of growth here. So what I'm going to do is simply up pot them into larger pots until I decide where I want to put them. First thing I'm going to do with this one is I'm just going to do a little deadheading, or not deadheading, but pruning. And it had this big long stem on it. That's gone. It has this beautiful branch on it right now. I'm going to leave that. And again, if you've seen, you've probably all seen this before. I'm not showing you anything new. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in a much bigger pot. Much bigger pot. And this way, hopefully it'll be fine. Hopefully it's not super root bound, but we're going to find out in a second. This bigger pot has these massive holes on the bottom. So what I did was I put a piece of paper towel on the bottom, and that'll help hold the dirt into place. And currently what I'm using is a local potting mix. It's called Daddy Pete's, and I believe it's native to South or North Carolina, something along those lines. But it's excellent. It's got a lot of perlite, and it's got a little manure in there, and it's got some other organic material in it. It's fantastic. And we'll just size that up, and that looks good. Now, here we go. What will this look like? Move the tag. Has a few roots growing out of the bottom. It's actually not too bad. So it's not as root bound as I thought it might be, which is a good thing. A few more roots there, not bad. I'm not even going to tease out the roots. I'm just going to pop it into the bigger pot. And then I'll fill in around the tree here. Now, I've never really grown crepe myrtles. I have a crepe myrtle that came with the property. There's a crepe myrtle that I purchased from Lowe's last year. It was much larger, and that was already in a pot. I planted that up. That one's doing lovely. It's actually flowering. I'll try to remember to put a picture up of that in a second. Let's just give that a little shake. Put the label back in. This way I know what it is. And there we go. The one crepe myrtle up potted. So that one is good. So again, and then they're not sponsoring this video. I'm just mentioning it because that's where I purchased these from. And it's worth a look. And again, if you join up as a member, you save more money. And again, the membership isn't that expensive. And it saves you the money if you're going to be regularly shopping for plants, bare root at this. You can get plants that are grown if they have them in stock, but of course it costs more money. So if you get a bare root like this is lovely. Now this leader here, or this stem here, has some buds on it, but again it looks fairly dead. So I'm just going to trim this back, get rid of that. Don't need that. And you can see it has quite a lot of new growth. And I'm just going to pop this right in. Let's see what it looks like first. Not too many roots out the bottom. Tease that out. This one's got a little more roots towards the bottom. I don't know if the camera will focus in on that. There you go. Not too bad. It's definitely nothing that I should be teasing the roots out on. I think there's a little too much dirt in there. We're going to just take that out. Pop that in. There we go. Snug it in. You know what? I got a little too much dirt in there still. I'm going to take out a handful. There we go. And then we'll backfill. And a lot of you, if you're gardeners, you've already done this. If you're not a gardener, this is an easy thing to do. So if you're just getting into gardening, this is it's a simple process. You're just putting the plant into a bigger pot. Now, if these trees were root bound, so in other words, you took them out of the plant, out of the pot, and again, this is only for the new gardeners. You older gardeners, you know, God, you probably put comments below correcting me on certain dumb things I say. But if you pull a plant out of its pot and you see nothing but roots all around the edges, or it may be hard to get out because all those roots are there. That's a pot-bound plant and has too many roots. At that point, what you could do is you could tease those roots out. Don't break them necessarily if you can avoid it, but if you do break some of the smaller ones, it's not the end of the world. The plant will regenerate roots because it's going to, it wants to. It wants to grow, and it grows by sending out roots. So you tease out those roots, you put it into a bigger pot, or you put it into the ground, and then it'll grow, and life is good. So this one's up potted. I'm gonna give them both the water. So these two crepe myrtles I will put back along the fence that I had. Actually, I may move them inside the veg garden just because it's easier. I had them just outside the gate of the veg garden, but whenever I mowed, it sort of have to go around them. And it's kind of a pain in the neck. So now I'll probably just put them somewhere here in the veg garden. That's gonna be it for today, really. It's just up potting the two plants. It might start raining at any moment, but let me show you a few more things before I go. Again, there's so many things I have to plant up. This right here is a hibiscus. That I think I'm gonna put in the rose garden. So when I do the video on refurbishing, or doing all that maintenance on the rose garden, I'll be planting that out. I have some peonies that have been struggling in this heat, as you can see. I mean, they're browning, they're yellowing. If you garden in hot weather, let me know, because when I gardened in New York, it would get hot, but never no 110 degree days. That was a very rare thing. So I don't know if, if I just, if they do die back, like this one. You can see that one died back. I don't know if that's dead, or if the plant will reflush again in the fall when it gets cooler, and or the spring. So again, if you're a better gardener than I am, please leave a comment below. Let me know your experiences with peonies. I have a Verbena bonarosis, which forever, it did nothing. It was this big forever. And then I put it into new potting soil. Maybe that's what it needed. And it's taken off, which is great. I've had this is Carnation Chaband Giants. And I've never grown carnation before, but this is what it's doing. I don't know if you could see that. It's just a thin little wispy thing. It's still alive, hasn't died, but it just doesn't seem to be doing much. If you've ever grown carnation from seed before, because that's what I did here, please let me know in those comments. Oh, my Montauk Daisies are finally taking off. Here, let me show you one. So I collected seeds from my Montauk Daisies, say that, earlier this year, and they were just itty bitty things forever. And just recently, again, I up potted them into bigger pots, and I gave them fresh soil, and they took off. So I'm wondering, maybe the soil I had them in was perhaps contaminated with something. That's been a thing lately with contaminated soils, and that's a whole long argument and discussion about that. And we'll get into that another time if you want. If you do want to hear more about that, please leave a comment below. Lemongrasses. I have lemongrasses, which is just, they're doing well. But again, they're useless to me in a pot, so I want to get them into the ground. And I have a plan of putting them on either side of the flower garden entrance. Just sort of lining the edges with them. I think that would look kind of neat. I have English lavender that I need to up pot. I'm not going to show you that because it's embarrassing. Oh God, look at these guys. This is Thorburns Terracotta Tomato. You can see, quite large. Really needs to get into the ground here. It's getting some suckers on it. Just pop those off. I've never grown this variety before. Apparently it produces a large beefsteak-like tomato. But these were free seeds from Baker Creek. With Baker Creek, some of the seed companies do this. With Baker Creek seeds, you order X amount of seeds, and they ship you a free packet of something. It's totally random. It could be flowers, it could be vegetables, it could be herbs, something random. In this case, they shipped me those Thorburns Terracotta. If I remember, I'll put a picture up over here. I'm also going to be dying one day here soon and working on the crater, the mound area. That's another area where I've neglected this year, and it's overgrown with weeds and it just needs a lot of love. Also gonna be filling in some of the spaces this year because, as I said last year, it was a space always in evolution, and a lot of the roots that were from the tree stump that's there were rotting away. So we're gonna start filling it in, and we're gonna start planting it up. And I'll explain all of that when I do the project and what I'm going to be planting in there. That's about it. Again, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It's appreciated. Please subscribe, hit that bell icon to be notified when I do post up a new video. This way you don't miss another exciting episode of me planting something in the garden. Or again, it could be I could be harvesting stuff. I try to plan out projects to again, what can I do, or what is being harvested, or what needs to be done now. So again, if you hit that subscribe button, you'll see when I do post up a new video. If you'd like to support the channel, please check out some of my links below. And that's going to wrap it up for today. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.